Ready for action.
He actually has a company. He was on the podcast episode 3, I think.
Okay.
And so he has like this automation company that he started by himself. And he was like, yeah. Because actually what was cool was off that episode, someone that I know on my social media, like this young guy in college, probably a sophomore in college, who's doing tech, IT stuff, was like, hey, bro, could you connect me with Corey? I'd be interested to learn more about his company if he has any openings and shit like that. Got him connected. Ended up that he's going to have a summer internship with him now. So like that connection all came from the podcast, Corey being on, my young friend watching it. And so I guess because of that, Corey really appreciated it. And he was like, shit.
It's all about the connection.
Yeah, he's like, if you want a sponsorship, we can talk about it, talk some numbers and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, that'd be sick. That way I can give him some bread too, like for helping me out and stuff like that. Like it'll all work out. So and that's episode 3. So it ain't even episode 50 or 100 where I'm getting this shit. So like good vibes. Like things are already starting off and kicking off, man. But how was, I guess, everything after the fight, man? What was like the emotions like when you experienced your first loss?
It was pretty fucking shitty, because I went back upstairs and I just sat down and I was just like, man, I feel like I got way more left of me in the tank and I should have just emptied it out. And in the fight, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking like, because I was in bad positions and he had me in a rear naked choke and I was like, nah, not in front of my family, man. Like you can't do me like this right now. And I just held the pressure there, where he couldn't get under my neck. And I could have scrambled a little bit more. But I just fucking let the timer go off in there, and he ended up on my back, and that's where he finished it. And when it went to his way after the decision, I was just like, man, this sense of guilt. Man, I had sold over $10,000 worth of tickets. I had it was the most tickets I've ever sold. I had a huge crowd, and just to lose that in front of them was shitty. And it's man, I really expected myself to go undefeated on the regional level. Well, I wanted to go undefeated my whole career. And if I were to lose, and it'd at least be against the best dudes in the game, in the UFC, Bellator, PFL. I was way better than this guy, and it's just name of the game, bro. I left it in the judges' hands, and I shouldn't have done that, and it cost me.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, I was thankful because I came out unscathed. I didn't suffer really any injuries at all.
Yeah, quick turnaround.
Exactly. And I saw him after the fight, and he was all cut up, here on his cheekbone, above his eyebrow. And you can just tell, someone were to guess, he had lost the fight.
Up,
but it is what it is.
Did you think you won right after? And did your coaches all good shit? You got this. And
I mean,
stuff like that?
As far as the damage goes, I for sure won. But I mean, he had most of the control time.
Yeah.
And I put myself in bad positions and countered off of him. I just spent way too long in his arms, and
yeah, you don't want to be in another man's arms for
that's
any
what
amount
I'm saying,
of time.
Man. Not like that. But
do you know how the scoring works? Because I'm not super familiar with the regional scene, right? I mainly watch UFC here and there, occasional Bellator cards, but I'm super into watching all of the UFC cards because they're creme de la creme of MMA.
Of course.
So I would consider myself, I guess that makes me a casual. I know everything about the UFC, but I don't know everything about all the other promotions. So I'll let the public decide if I'm a casual or not. But I still don't know how the scoring works. Never read the rules or how it works. Do you know how much they quantify control time or damage and how the two kind of bounce off of each other? Have you ever read the rule books or?
Bro, I don't even know how the scoring goes. They be talking about after the round ends, they'll be like, yeah, I'll give that dude a 10-8, 10-9. And I just sit there acting like I know what's going on. I'm like, what's a 10-8? What's a 10? I don't understand it, but I know that if you score a takedown, they consider that a point. Somebody could throw at least 100 strikes and they could all land, and I still wouldn't even know how they would score that. A 10. I don't know. I really don't know. I just know that if in the judge's eyes, if a takedown looks good, especially you have ground control, You can literally be laying there and praying, and to them in the judges' hands, like you're winning, and I guess they score that as a 10. And like I said, I don't know how it goes.
Yeah. I think damage has to be more valued, bro. Like that's a problem I see. Like I don't know if you remember Dan Henderson and Michael Bisping when they fought the second time when Bisping was champion. You remember that?
Was it I think it may have been Dan's last fight.
Dan's last fight.
His retirement fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
You saw Michael after the fight.
All fucked up.
Dan looked like this 40-year-old man looked like he's fine. Like he just got out of the sauna.
Yeah.
And Mike was fucked up. Like his eye was damn near swollen shut. He had gotten dropped multiple times. I thought he lost the fight, Bisping, but they gave it to him because of his volume, I guess. The volume in the later rounds and stuff like that won him the fight. But damage to me should be overarching in a fight. Like, how badly did you fuck the other guy up? Like, if you're just controlling him, but then when you're on the feet, you're getting dropped or you're getting hurt, like Rock, your face is all cut up. In a real world situation, who would win that? Like, I guess I don't know.
I mean, like you're putting it good. Like if, like, this takes me back to the GSP fight when he fought. Man, I can't remember his name. Hendricks. There you go.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, yeah, they fought for the title.
Jimi Hendrix? No, that's the
Johnny
guitar.
Hendrix, some shit like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix plays guitar. Yeah,
yeah. They had fought, and they did a post-fight interview, and GSP was all fucked up.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
Both sides
everywhere.
of his face,
yeah.
like just like an alien, just like
that's when the aliens started talking to him. Remember, like the next year after that, the aliens.
It was just bad, man.
Yeah.
And you look over across the table, Jimmy was just like fresh, like didn't even look like he had gotten into a fight.
Yeah,
but he had still lost, you know. And I think like they should really just let him go to the death. Like let him fight to the death. Fuck it. Don't even put a ref in there.
Yeah,
just let him like go at it. But I guess for the fighter safety, you gotta have them.
I don't think the public would be receptive to seeing a dead body just laying out there. But that's the true gladiator spirit of the game, right?
Exactly.
Motherfuckers like Justin Gaethje and shit, they're like, let us go till the death. Or even in interviews, he says, we should have been gladiators. After him and Michael Chandler fought, he said, man, we should have been gladiators back in the day and just fought till the death. That's what me and him have, that kind of spirit and shit like that. Did you always have that, or is that something that came after you kind of started working and exposing yourself to the sport, or you've just always been like ferocious with competition?
Yeah, I don't never really try to play by the point game. Like I just try to go in there and finish the fight.
Yeah,
like, everyone should. Like that's the big, because if you leave it in the judge's hands, you're gonna take that risk of like not knowing, like, you know, like. Should always go for the kill, and that's what I've been trained to do. And every time I go, like every time I train and when I spar, I always try to go for a kill. Like sparring rounds, like this morning, like you got to protect your marbles too at the same time. Like you can't be knocking your partners out every single week, because then
no one's gonna want to train with you.
Exactly, no one's gonna want to train with you. Guys are gonna be leaving the gym, and you won't have anybody to train with. But at least the least you can do is like look for a takedown and look for a submission and try to get as many submissions as you can within the round. That's what like I try to focus on. I'm not, because you obviously can't knock everybody out. So at least you can try to go for a finish, like submission wise, making somebody like take a knee after taking so much strikes. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, finishing the fight is what I always try to go for.
Bro, there's nothing like knocking somebody out. Like, when I first felt that shit, it wasn't like in a gym or anything, but in a street fight, just putting someone out cold, you just feel like this rush where you're just like, damn, like you just look for the next guy. Like, who can I do this again to? Like it's that feeling of just putting someone's lights out is like a powerful fucking feeling. Like I never felt anything like it. I put it up there with like sex, skydiving, like knocking someone out, bro. That shit when you just shut someone's lights out, it's pure competition. Just you versus that other person. Yeah. There's no ball. There's no fucking basket. There's no goal. It's just you versus them, your body, their body. Who comes out on top? And I don't think you can be a fighter if you don't want to go for the finish. Like if your goal is just to point fight, go do karate or something like that. Like go do something like that. Don't do fighting. Don't do MMA, because it's the only thing that would drive you is that that desire to conquer the other person, and that way you do that is you fucking make it final, you know, knockout or put them to sleep, like, or let the ref stop you, like 2 more seconds, your ass is asleep. That shit is like just get you going, bro. I fucking love that feeling.
Seeing somebody going limp is like, wow.
I don't know if that's psychotic in us or whatever, but I fucking love that shit. I don't care.
Yeah, like, you got to be a little crazy, but I mean, it's a very satisfying feeling because like 1 second you're up, you know, you're trying to battle it out, and you can just hear the when I'm fighting my opponents, like I'm very quiet in there. I don't like really make a lot of noise. Like I just try to like, but every one of my opponents that I fought, like they're in there. I could feel them like like trying to hit me with everything they got. It's kind of like, damn, like I can't really put it into words, but when I've dropped someone, like all of that goes out the window.
Yeah,
like, there's no excruciating of them like trying to come after me. It's like second they're here and second they're gone. Like I've never had a complete knockout. I've like most of my finishes are from TKOs.
Yeah.
But you know, just landing that one punch, like seeing them come at me with like rage, and then boom, and then just seeing them like fall, drip, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I've had that happen twice now, like three times.
Yeah, that Rivera fight where you dropped him with the left hand right off rip. And, like,
I thought that was it.
I thought that was it too.
Damn.
I was like, damn, like, because you landed clean. And did you come from karate, like, as a background? Because you do like the sides. You have like that side stance where you like kind of hop around and stuff like that. Did you start with karate?
That was the very first sport that I ever did.
Gotcha.
I was like 8 years old when my parents enrolled me in karate, and ever since then, like I just like went with it. But I started doing karate. That's why I got like that point striker stance.
Yeah, you have like the sideways stance, bro. I love that stance. Connor, fucking Wonder Boy, all of them have that like wide sideways stance, and they're like bouncy on their feet. Gunnar Nelson too, bro. I really like.
He's one of my favorites.
I really like his karate because he's so
patient with it,
and he's like bouncing slowly, and then boom! Like his explosion off a karate stance is probably one of the fastest I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I don't remember who he was fighting. It was a while ago. It was like Alex Oliveira, the Cowboy Oliveira. Remember when he bloodied him up and shit?
Yep.
In the first round, he was just like this, and that was the first time I ever saw Gunnar fight live. Because I hadn't like.
You were there?
No. Just like on TV.
Okay.
And I was like, "What is he doing? Like, what is he like?" Because he was doing that dipping shit and just like really slowly.
It's tricky. Like, it's tricky to try to counter off of.
And then just boom and dropped Oliveira with like a quick left. Like it was so fast. I was like, "Damn, how the fuck did he explode like that shit?" I was in my garage for like the next hour just
trying to mimic that shit. Like, how do I
look like a frog? Just
But
yeah, that karate stance is dirty, bro.
Yeah, it's like when they like it's like when they do so many point tournaments for so long. Like it's just like bouncing on the toes, and then they gotta look for that one kill shot. As so they say. But yeah, I love watching guys like that, like Gunnar Nelson, Connor, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. There's another guy like that has a really good style like that. He's not in the UFC, but he's a great striker. Michael Venom Page.
Oh yeah, and Bellator.
Yeah. So you're familiar with him. Like all those guys with those kinds of style. Like it's exciting to watch because like it's so tricky. They have their hands down so low, down to the hip.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what's coming up, you know, like if it's a jab or a hook. Because if you have your hands up closer to your face, like you can kind of like tell like the swinging motions of what traditional like strikers are gonna throw. But when it comes down from hip, like can't really like telegraph what's coming at.
Yeah, it's dangerous though. It's a tricky game to play. Like, because that's also all the distance you have to cover to get your hand back up if you're trying to like, you know, block a hook or something like that. If you can't roll under it, you gotta. That's a good. All that time matters, bro. It's like that half second to come from here to here. Because I like to box, and so when I box, I'm down here because I like bringing my jab from bottom because they don't see it coming, and I get hit. I get hit sometimes because I have it down here, and they'll throw a hook like off a fake jab where they'll pump the jab and come over the hook. And since I'm thinking it's a jab, I'm like ready to slip. And then by the time I see it's a hook, I'm only here. with my
Yeah.
hand by the time the hook lands. Like, shit, like fuck, you
Yeah.
got me there. But I do like that shit too, bro, because you're right. They can't see it because
Right.
your peripheral doesn't go that low because you're focused. I don't know how, when you fight, you like look at the chest when someone's fighting.
I like look from the chin and like from here, all of this. I don't really look at anything.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at this area, like the chest piece, like kind of see it's coming. But yeah, that's my style. It ain't kind of frustrating too because my family doesn't really understand it, and like I'll hear them from inside of the cage, and like they'll tell me like, keep your hands up, or just anybody else like around that's like rooting for me. They'll be like, keep your hands up, and I'm like, it's probably safer, but I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, relax, let me play my game.
Everybody's an expert, bro.
Right.
That's what you'll like. You probably already realized that everyone's a fucking expert, bro. They think they know everything.
Yeah, but like truthfully too, like I don't really get hit a lot. I've been like bad, like I've had like 2 bad injuries, and it was just from stupid mistakes. My first injury when I was fighting as an amateur, I was fighting Christian Tovar. I had him like pinned. Excuse me. I had him pinned up against the cage, and I smelled blood, and I'm thinking, because I had rocked him, and I'm like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm just gonna mollywop on him. Like, the ref's gonna come in and stop it, and it's gonna be over. I just like mollywopping on him, and then boom, like he had countered me with a hook, and the hook, all of the damage hit me right on my eye. Straight on my eye. It missed everything else, like my
eyebrow and everything.
Like all of the impact that I took was all on my eye, and like it kind of like rocked me for sure. And I had to step back, and then for a minute in the round, like I lost my vision. I couldn't really see. Like, you know, when you get hit in the eye, like you kind of like do this a little bit, and it had fucked me up. I'm thinking like, oh shit, this is bad, this is bad. Because now he's like, he sees that I'm hurt and he's coming forward, and I only have one eye. Yeah. And I'm like, just trying to like stay in the fight. And then finally the round was over. And then going into the third, like my eyes started like coming up, like my vision started coming back. And I'm thinking like, okay, we're good. Like I can see like, okay, like I'm not like badly hurt, but like my vision is a little blurred. And then right before we're going into the third round, like the ref asks Christian, you ready? He asks me, you ready? He just looks at me and kind of just like waits, and he's like, time. Let me, and he calls in the doctor. And the doctor's looking at my eye, and he's like, got the flashlight pointing at me, like asking me to follow it. He just takes a second at it, and he's like, follow it. What? No, I'm good. Yeah. I'm ready to go. Like, it's okay. It's fine. And I was fighting it hard, but because it was at the amateur level too, so it was like, wasn't really worth me going the distance. Yeah. Because you don't want to get hurt like that as an amateur.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it ended up calling it, and I had suffered like, and in the fight, I'm like, how bad is it? Because I can't really see. And until I go back into the locker room, and I went back into the locker room, looked at my phone, I checked my camera, and I'm like, oh, that shit is pretty bad. Like I had like 2 cuts below right here, and then my eye. The black fucking
cornea, right?
Was it the?
Is that you talking about the overall?
Yeah, like the little.
I think that's the cornea.
Okay, well, it was like bloodshot. Like,
oh, you talking about the white part? The white part surrounding it.
The fucking.
Oh, the black part was red.
Yeah. Like it was.
I've
just
never seen that.
Up.
Damn.
It was bad. I'm thinking like, oh man, this is bad. And so I went to an eye doctor, and they told me like I was probably gonna be out for like 6 months.
What was it, like detached retina or something like that, or like what did they say was to?
They gave me a word for it, but it was a big ass word. I don't remember it, but I just like that my vision was blurred. Yeah, for like 6 months. I would close this eye, and everything was blurry, and I couldn't really like focus. It wouldn't focus. But after 6 months, my vision like finally like came back together.
That's fucking scary, bro. I would be freaking out.
Yeah.
Damn. I would think like, is this shit ever gonna go back to normal after like 3 months? Holy shit.
But I still kept training. It was fine. Yeah. But slowly but surely, like my vision came back together. And then my second worst injury, was fighting Rivera. He had me pinned. I had him pinned up against the cage, and I was trying to go for a double leg, and he ended up throwing up a knee, and the knee like busted me right here in the middle of my unibrow.
Yeah,
and like when he hit me, like it just felt like a little like it wasn't really that bad. I was like, man, I eat that shit, throw another one. But then I started seeing blood just pour down where we were at. And I'm thinking like, oh, that's a lot of blood. This isn't looking good. And so the round was over. Then we're going into the third round. And then I'm asking the cut man, like, hey man, like how bad is the cut? Is it bad? He can't even lie to me. He's just looking at it and kind of like patch it up. He's like, yeah, it's bad. I'm just like, oh my God, so bad.
So you don't feel it, huh, in the middle of a fight? Because I've never gotten cut in like any street fight or anything. But you just, you really don't feel anything. You just see the blood, right? That's literally
I didn't feel anything. I just saw the blood coming down. It was pouring down bad, but I didn't feel it because of all the adrenaline that was going through my body. Like it was whatever. But then like once we went upstairs and we started like getting stitched up, like I started feeling. And then I looked at my phone. I looked at myself, and I'm like, bro, it's like I had like two lips. Like it was just so badly cut open, and doctor stitched me up. But like that was the only clean hit that he landed on me. Was from a stupid mistake through that knee. But as far as the rest of the fight, like he didn't land a single punch on me. And that's pretty much like how all of my fights have been, like from like the striking distance, because I play so wide at like that karate style. Like it's hard for like everybody, like for fighters to like get in on attack. But those are the only two really bad like injuries that I've suffered so far, thankfully.
Yeah, that eye one sounds fucking scary, bro. That's the ones that I feel like, you know, the bad injuries like Michael Bisping had with his eye. That's when you said that. That's what I immediately thought of. Is like, damn, like you could get that
scary.
Shit fucked up.
Yeah, but thankfully, like ever since then, like I haven't really had any issues with my eye. It's like kind of like nothing really happened. Every now and then, like I'll see like a little black dot. It's like going around. I'm like, everywhere I look, it'll just be there, and I'm like,
that's not right.
But yeah, it's fine now, thankfully.
What about like fight camps? Because you always hear fighters say, you know, no fighter comes into a fight camp fully healthy. Is that true? Like you always deal with injuries during camp and stuff like that? Did you just gotta roll it?
Yeah, no fighter really goes into a fight 100% healthy. But I was thankful enough that this last camp, like super smooth. Like I had a great camp. I didn't sustain any injuries. Like, and I pushed hard for like 6 to 8 weeks. And like I think it's like rare for a fighter to go or push that long to like not suffer some sort of injury. But I was thankful enough to like nothing really bad happened, so I was good. Now I'm in another camp right now. I mean, I have little aches and bruises here and there, but nothing really too serious. But in my previous fight camps, like I've been like 2 or 3 weeks out, and I've suffered like cuts that have opened up like on this side of my face and on this side. And I told myself like, it's not really a fight camp if you don't get it. You know, if you don't have like a cut going into a fight, then like not really a fight camp. And that's how I knew. How do I?
Yeah, my question is though, is it coming mainly from striking? Like, is that where most people get the injuries? Is it from like the striking part of camp, or is it the wrestling? Because like, you would think like at this point, you know, camp should know how to mitigate those aspects, right? Because they've seen it happen so many times. Like, okay, maybe we need to do this a little bit better, or change up this part of camp. But you still see it like every camp. Someone's like, man, I had to deal with stuff like that. Like you would think with time we would get better at protecting the fighter and maybe planning the camp a little differently. But why is it? Do you have like an opinion on why we still have this issue where we see fighters coming into fights like not fully healthy?
It just happens, man. Like 2 to 3, like I would say 3 to 2 weeks out of your fight, you should really start tapering it down. Really be careful with who you spar with, because you know you don't want to sustain any injury, so you just want to be careful and choose your partners like wisely, you know, like who's going to take care of you. But, you know, accidents just happen. You know, you could just be drilling a certain like bad position, and you can tweak your body one way or another, and like something's just bound to happen. You know, it's really hard to train like hard to your full potential without like getting injured. But I mean, just gotta like go into practice hoping. Like every time I go, I'm like God, like please, like let me have a great training day. Like let me go in there, injury free. That way I can finish the week strong. But like you just never know. Like,
what do you think about people like Holloway says, you know, I don't spar no more. Like he was doing Zoom training with his coach for majority of COVID and stuff like that. Do you think that's just something they're saying for the camera, or that shit actually works? Because I mean, if he wasn't lying, he came and had a fucking crazy performance against Calvin Cater after no sparring, no real in-person training and shit like that. Yeah. And I mean, obviously he's protected, so no injuries. He's not, you know, getting hurt and stuff like that. But he also had a career before that where he was fucking working his ass off, you know, doing crazy shit, going through sparring wars and stuff like that. So maybe this is just like, oh, I did all that now I can go without sparring. Or maybe that shit works. Like, shit, who knows?
I don't know. When I heard that, I was really impressed because, like, I'd like to think like Max Holloway is like a man of his word. So I'm like, man, that's how he spent all of his training camp. Then shit, like I would like to try that, you know, because you know, sparring, like you take a risk of like getting injured, and if you could just go through your whole camp without like sparring like that and just doing nothing but pad work, but working those live scenarios like in the fight, then who knows, man? Like, you really got to play with your fight camp. But I think you do need those sparring rounds to like give you that like live scenario of like how it's gonna go down. At least like, because a lot of pro fighters, like they spar like at least if you have like a 6 to 8 week camp, maybe they'll squeeze in like 2 to 3 hard sparring rounds the whole camp, and everything else is just pad work, conditioning, and like bad positions and working out of that. But
are they like top level guys that you see doing that, or just like?
Yeah, I like Max. He's got like over at least like I think 20 professional fights. So at that point, like maybe you don't need to spar every single week. You know, you can just get by doing other sorts of training. But me, like I'm still like young in the game, so like I want to like level up as much as I can and get those hard rounds like out of the way now. So like maybe like when I'm at that level, I won't have to kill my body with those many rounds like all the time. So
sparring's also mainly for the nerves too, right? I feel like that's why a lot of coaches throw their young fighters in sparring a lot, is because the nerve shit is serious, bro. Like even when you're drunk getting into a street fight, you have nerves. Like it doesn't matter how. I mean, you can get pretty fucked up. If you're really fucked up, then you won't have any nerves. But like if you're like buzzed, even when I get into fights sometimes, I'm like, oh shit, like, all right, this guy know what he's doing. Like,
yeah, you still get that feeling.
Is he about to like fuck me up? So I'm like always, you know, setting up first. And I think that scares a lot of people too. When you like set up in a street fight instead of just brawl, they're like, oh fuck, like
if someone starts bouncing, you're thinking like, oh shit.
I always do the Bruce Lee shit. I'm like, come on with it. Like, that shit scares people, bro. But I think it's the nerves, dude, because you got to get past that. And I think sparring is the number one way to you know, drill it. Like you won't get past the crowd stuff because that's gonna add a whole nother element when you're walking out and there's fucking thousands of people out there just cheering and shit like that. I feel like then that would add a new aspect of nerves. But yeah, the nerve part is the biggest thing for me.
I know. I get what you're saying too, because like before, like when I was younger in the game, like I would get anxious like going into my sparring rounds. I'm thinking like, oh, you know, I'd pull up to the gym and I'm just in the car like, I don't know if I want to get out. Like, I don't know if like, oh, this is just so bad. And I see like somebody pull up knowing that, oh, they're going to fuck me up. I'm like, fuck. Like, but I think that's what helps. Like the more you do it, like those nerves will just like start to fade away. This morning was just like, oh, it's just another sparring day. Let me get to rounds. And I'm not even thinking about who's pulling up or not. Like whoever shows up, it's like, okay, we're here to get this work. you know, and that comes from like just doing it from so much. Like now it's just like nothing.
Yeah, it's like everything in life too, bro. It's like repetition is what gets you past that shit, because anxiety is a part of life,
Right.
and it's even bigger when it's there's more risks, like your life's on the line, your health is on the line. But anxiety was with everything, bro. I remember when I was in fucking high school and shit, I'd be anxious to go talk to girls, like pretty girls that I didn't know. Like, what do I say? Like shit.
Yeah.
Like you said in the car, I'd be in the hallway just like, what do I say? Like, what's my line? Like shit. Like but then the more you do it, it just becomes normal. It's just like go up to anyone and be like, well, what's good? That shit, it just comes with repetition, bro. Like this game is life, and that's the good thing about fighting too. It teaches you so many lessons about life. I had a guy on, Zach Spiller. He's a boxer. He talked about that. He said he learned so much shit about just being a man from boxing, like going to train, growing up, learning how to box, learning from his coaches, just the different hardships he had to go through camps and shit like that. Just teaches you so much shit. I'm sure you know exactly what he's talking about.
Oh, dude. Like, man. Like, I've met so many people from different kinds of backgrounds, like, doing this shit. Like, man, I thought I was a badass fighter up until I came across some other real badass fighters. And I was like, holy shit. Like, it just puts everything into perspective, too. Because I'm thinking, like, man, I thought I had it good. And I thought I was the shit. But then you come across a bad motherfucker that's even better. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, I'd gone to Colorado to go and train in Factory X.
Gotcha.
And I spent a whole month up there, and I've never really cross trained before. So like going out of state and going into a big like world class gym for your first time, like, and being on my own and not really knowing anybody, like I'm thinking like, oh, like, I'm just going to go out there for a whole month. I'm going to get some work in, like, not going to be good, like, whatever, And then when I had went, it wasn't nothing like I expected. It was like, oh, you thought you were going to come in here and train with us? Like, no. First, you're going to, like, try out, see if we like you. And then if we like you, then you'll be willing to train. Like, we'll let you train for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. And I came home after my first day and I'm like just thinking to myself like, dude, what if I don't make it? I'm supposed to be here for a whole month.
Yeah.
They don't like me the first week, then shot myself in the foot. Like, what am I gonna do? And but thankfully it went all smooth. I met so many great people out there from different backgrounds, and seeing how their structure is and like how it made me feel like, man, I thought I was a real fighter. But I'm around these guys. It's like shit. Like they're in here like every single day, Monday through Saturday, in the mornings and the evenings. It just showed you like a different way of like training. Thankful that I was able to like be a part of that, because now like changed like my perspective on training and how I should train. I brought that from Colorado back down here, and it's just like a different way of like I thought I was like a fighter, but those guys are out there like they're legit living the like 9 to 5, and that's the type of shit that I'm trying to get on. That's the type of shit that I'm trying to do. So it was a good experience to be able to like be a part of. So
is that when you went full-time fighting, or were you already full-time fighting before that? Like, when did you make the switch? Did you ever like work another job while you were fighting? Are you still doing that now, or did you eventually be like, okay, I need to full-time dedicate, my whole life to martial arts?
No, I had a great job before I fully committed. Like, great pay, great benefits, but it was just taking too much time out of my day. Like I would get off from work around 5, and then by then I've already missed like the fighters training. Like I wasn't really getting the work that I was supposed to be doing. Like I learned like as a pro fighter, like you need to be getting at least like 2 to 3 to 4, 5 sessions a day. Like the best guys in the world, like those guys are like wake up in the morning and they're just doing that shit from sunrise to sundown. Yep. It's like, man, that's the shit that I need to be. Like I want to compete at the highest level. That's what I need to fucking do.
Especially in your division, bro. Lightweight. Yeah. Just in UFC alone, lightweight is the deepest division. So
exactly.
these fucking killers are just walking around from 1 to 15, like, and then probably even some unranked guys in that division alone that are fucking monsters. I think lightweight's been the premier division since BJ Penn was like champion of that division. I think since then it's just been filled with killers, bro. So,
I always think it's like the exciting division, the most stacked, because like, you know, they talk about the 135 being like the most exciting division, but I think like 55 is like the most competitive, toughest.
That's recency bias, though. Every division's the best division after a great fight. Like fucking 185 is probably the best now after that Adesanya fight. Like, oh shit. But yeah, 155, and then you have Conor, who just, you know, became the sport in that division, and just that was the last time. I mean, he had this biggest fight of his career with Khabib in fucking 155. So that shit just made it even bigger. And I love that division. That's just like my favorite, bro.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to see you up there in the mix with them. Like,
hopefully,
working your way up there.
Well, one day I'll know if I keep working hard enough, I'll get there. But like you said, it's the toughest division. And like every time when I'm not fighting, I like to go to the shows and see like that division, just because you always got to be on the lookout. Like, because you never know like who you could come across with. Like,
you talking about your shows like for Fury or
for anywhere, for Fury, LFA, Bellator, PFL, like anybody that's fighting that division, like I'm always on the lookout, because you just never know. Like, come across them one day and start fighting, but you know, like
the fucking hallways. Oh, what's up, bitch?
Yeah, for real. But I'm a big fan of MMA. Like, I watch it. If there's a fight going on, like, I don't care who's fighting, I'm gonna tune in. But if it's like the lightweight, like I'll start to
take some notes and shit.
Yeah. Cause you just never know. But
what do you think about today? UFC, Arnold Allen and Holloway.
Man, Arnold Allen looked like dehydrated as hell.
I didn't see the weigh-ins. It was bad.
Oh man, he like Max looked fine, but man, when I saw Arnold, I was like, holy shit, like he must have had like a bad weight cut, because he just looked so bad. Because I think he's really big for the division. I think he's about 6 foot.
Yeah,
but he's thick.
Dude, he's jacked.
Yeah. Dude, jacked. Yeah, I've seen some of his workout videos on YouTube, and he's a 45er. That's what he competes at. But I've seen this motherfucker deadlift like at least 500 pounds, and I'm thinking like,
damn,
that's what I'm saying. Like you compete at this level, but you're lifting this much weight. Like I can't pick up 500 pounds off the ground, and I got like 40 pounds on him. You know, it's just like crazy to see. But man, I like Arnold and I like Max, but I think Arnold's like gonna come out on top. Like,
really,
for some reason.
Yeah, like what's like your takeaways that make you think that?
I just think man, they're talking about Max doing the trilogy fight with Volkanovski, but
fourth fight,
right? Yeah, there you go. But I think like he's getting towards the end of his career. Like, he's had his best days already. I feel like
but he's only 29. Max is only 29, bro, or 30. He's like he either just hit 30 or he's still 29.
Man,
it's fucking crazy.
It's just one of those things. I don't know. He could probably just go in there and mop this kid. I think this kid's like Arnold guy, like he's on a tear. He's like 10-0. How old is he?
I think he's in his 20s too. Probably late 20s, 28, right? Something like that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Because like I'm looking at it as if like, oh man, I can't even counting Max out, man. I can't even doing this.
Bro, to me, right, when I see this fight, it's just because Arnold gets wild a lot of times in his fights. Like the Dan Hooker fight, and obviously he had him hurt, so he got wild, but he got caught with the counter. And Max doesn't have like the one shot knockout power, but if Max touches you, you're gonna feel that shit. Like when he pops,
he's got a lot of volume too.
Yeah, and every time it's a buzz, you can just see them when their head snaps back. They have to like shake it out. If it's gonna be a stand-up battle, I don't see how because Arnold isn't, I think, technical enough for Max's straight punches. He just hits that volume where he just jab, 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 straight, and then he's always out of range when they try to counter him. Like if it's a top 5 guy, if it's Volkanovski's different. Volkanovski knows how to stick that pressure on him and keep him there. But I don't see how Arnold beats him, man. Like Max, I think only loses to Volkanovski. I don't think because when have we seen him in trouble other than Volk recently? I haven't seen Max kind of. Yair was a good fight. Yair gave him problems, but he's tall, he's lanky, he's
got that style like variety type too.
Yeah, Arnold's more, like kind of stocky, a little bit of pressure, steps back. It would be great to see him win because I think they need some new blood at 145. Volkanovski's kind of ran through everybody. He needs a new challenge or something like that. But Max is Max, man. Shit, he's just like I've never seen him struggle except with the top guys and 155. That was it. Poirier and then Volk. Other than that, I haven't seen him struggle since I think I started watching MMA. So, like, how do you and like I said, he's still young. He's 29, 30.
Man, I don't know, but it's just one of those things. If he comes out on top, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, thinking like, man, like okay, now you got like good talk between like in that fourth fight. It's just one of those like I'd be game to watch it too because they're both great strikers. Both got the dogs in them. So we'll see, man. We'll see, man. I completely forgot that the fights were going on tonight, but gonna be tuned in for that one.
And that Calvin Kattar performance, bro. That was like some next level shit. Like the Muhammad Ali thing they made that picture where he had the Muhammad Ali like comparison and stuff. And then the freshman came out to play today, boy. Like he was fucking on that day.
And when you find your rhythm like that, like so deep. Yeah. It's like your confidence grows within that fight, like fight itself. Like can't be touched. And seeing that was like, man, at any moment you can get dropped too. But he had so much swag and so much confidence in that fight, and it was just like awesome to see, man.
You ever felt that? Like, have you been in a fight where you just clicked the whole time, like 15 minutes, didn't get tired, just on the whole time?
No, man, because all my fights have just been kind of like I have like 3 finishes, and then my last one, it went the distance, but I didn't really feel like too confident in winning that fight. I have yet to feel that, but I'm gonna get my chance, bro. I'm gonna get my chance where I just like let it all loose and just really show like my swag and confidence. I've yet to felt that, but I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel it.
What about like training? Like there's just days where you're just on like. And how does your training work? Do you have multiple sparring partners for like your sessions when you have a fight camp? So they have like fresh guys coming in to give you work the whole time, or
like my last fight, I fought a southpaw, so I had like 6 weeks to prepare for a southpaw. So all of my training partners, like I only went with southpaws. Like I didn't want to go with an orthodox. Like I didn't want to switch for anybody else. Like I was very like specific with who I wanted to train with, because when I break my fights down, I'm thinking like, okay, how do I break this guy down? What could I land on a southpaw that's gonna work? I figured out some combos, and I drilled them nonstop through the fight camp. Like I drilled them on my sparring partners, and then I drilled them during my pad session. So I would drill them on pads, and then I try to transition it to the sparring round. And I had this one clean combo. It goes inside kick to a cross, back to a high kick. And I worked that nonstop for this fight and for this guy. And even like, and you can, if you go back to my last fight, you can see where I landed that sequence. Inside kick to the cross, back to the high kick. Man, I did that nonstop for like 30 minutes, like just every single day. And for it to see it go live under the big show, it was like, wow. I drilled that, and I fucking did that in the fight. It may have not been enough to like knock the dude out, but all of it all landed perfectly together. That's what I drilled on with southpaws nonstop. So it just kind of like depends on like who I'm gonna be fighting. Like on this fight, I think like my opponent's an orthodox, and now it's like, okay, now I got to switch back to just sparring with orthodox and training like with orthodox fighters, and just trying to like see like what specific combos and what sequences will work. So
Who sets up those sessions? Is it like you or your coach that reaches out? And is it all your guys like at your gym, or you guys bring in people from other gyms and stuff to give you work?
I plan it all like in my head. Like I figure out who I'm fighting, what's gonna work, okay, and then I go back to like my team. Like okay, like Lloyd's a southpaw, Dakota's a southpaw. This guy's not a southpaw, but I can ask him to switch for me, and then we'll just move around. So, I mean, that's pretty much how I go off my training.
Mm-hmm. You have like a main head coach though, but you still kind of, even though you have a head coach, you kind of still are the ones doing, I guess, the cerebral approach, building the camp, or does he kind of give input and like, I guess, coach, or is it kind of you're like, this is what I think is going to work, and then you fill them in on like, all right, let's go about it this way?
That's how I like to do it.
Okay.
I run it by my head coach, Daniel Pineda.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey man, I'm gonna fight this guy. I would really like to work with these guys only, so I can like get my body adjusted, just have that like laser focus, like because you go with the southpaw for so long and then you switch into an orthodox, it's kind of like throws you off your rhythm. Like no, I need to go with this guy instead. Mm-hmm. But I like to plan it like all with myself, and I have like a pad coach and my striking coach. Andrew, he used to be a Muay Thai coach at the gym that I train at, 4 Ounce Fight Club.
Gotcha.
But he had like left for like personal reasons for like his work. It just got in the way. He just couldn't really make it anymore. But I still like training with him, so I would reach out to him like, hey man, like I know you can't be coming to the gym as often, but I would still like to work with you. And so that's kind of like how I'll do my thing. Like I'll go to 4 Ounce and I'll train there for like 2 hours, and then pack up and drive to Katy for like another hour and a half or two, and then we'll just work like specific kind of like things. Like I was just with them last night. I got my rounds in at 4 Ounce.
Yeah.
And then I made the drive to Katy, and we were just like brainstorming, planning, like, because I really don't like to watch film of my opponents. Like I'll do every once in a while, but I really don't like to watch film. And I'll ask him like, hey man, watch film on my guy, and then let me know what he's good at, what he's bad at, and then that we can go from there. And we talked yesterday, and he had told me like, okay, he likes to like sit on his punches. He's got a crisp 1-2, but he likes to shell up too. He's just throwing all this shit at me, and I'm just like in my head like, all right, well then, what's the plan? All right, well, we're going to hit him with this because this is what we're going to crack him with. Not going to like this.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, then let's drill it. Let's just drill that non-stop for 35 to 45 minutes and do it again the next day.
Yeah. That's interesting. So it seems like you've always had like the hand over your own career. Because I think a lot of people kind of defer that role to their head coach or their manager and stuff, and then they just kind of, fight. They're like, okay, just give me a fight. Train me and do what I do. But it seems like you kind of had like your hand over it. Like, yeah, I wanted to go this way. You have a vision and you're kind of traversing it your way, right?
Exactly. I mean, this like you said, this is my career.
Yeah.
So like, I got to plan it accordingly. And what's going to be the best move for me? What's going to set me up for like next 10 years in the future? So like, I got to like plan accordingly. I got to like break my fights down. Like, a lot of these guys, like they'll take fights and they won't really like train specifically for them, and they'll just train, and then they go in there and fight, and like, which is like badass too. But I think you could even make it better if you break it down to a science.
Yeah.
Like find out what they're good at, what they're bad at, and then figure out a game plan, how you're gonna break them down, and then go in there and do that shit.
Yeah, psychoanalysis. Like, that also, bro, psychology and fighting is huge, and people don't give it enough credit. Like, I think if you just watch someone's fights or just watch how they carry themselves in interviews and stuff like that, you can tell so much about them psychologically that'll give you more input about how they might react to certain things, or like how they might react to certain things you throw them at in a fight, or the different things they'll kind of lean towards. Like if their energy feels more reserved, they might be a counter striker who like waiting and then capitalize on like a moment where you make a mistake and stuff like that. You see that when you see your opponents and stuff, can you tell things about them just by the way they carry themselves and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, like Keegan, my last opponent. Like I was watching film on his fight, and he was like, I watching him fight, like he was a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I knew like, okay, like it's gonna be a scrap, because like watching him fight, like he came forward nonstop. You could just tell he's a tough motherfucker. You try to take him down on the ground, he just get back up. Like there was no quit in him.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that from just looking at his fights. Like I knew that. I had like that, seeing that, like I had a perspective like I know I'm gonna go in for a scrap, because I know this guy's gonna come forward. I know that he's not gonna quit. You know, he's a dog, he's a scrapper. Like I know that he's just gonna come in for a fight. And I'm the same way too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a scrapper too. So like I think it's good to see that, because like you get an idea of who it is. Like I said, like you figure out what they're good at, what they're bad at, and that's why like good to see that.
Yeah, it helps you pick up on tells too, I think. Like in the fight, like you see certain ticks or something, you're like,
exactly.
oh, okay, I know what that's coming. I know what's coming next after that.
Yeah. And like I knew like he's a striker too. So I'm like, we're gonna keep this fight on the feet. But then
how'd you end up on the ground?
That's what I'm saying. So then, but then once we got in the exchange, like me being the shorter fighter, I had his ass shooting on me. I shot like once, but he came in like rushing forward at me, just throwing combos and then shooting in for dear life and just holding on. And I didn't expect that, because I'm thinking like, bro, what the fuck? I thought we were gonna meet in the middle and throw down, but here you are, the striker turning into the wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. I didn't expect that. That's kind of like what threw me off too, because like I didn't expect to be held like that. But
that shit's funny how that works. Like it's the same way, the opposite way, when you have two wrestlers come in the fight. Sometimes
they end up striking,
bang it out, like Kobe and Usman, just straight hands.
I always love going back to that fight when I say when you put two wrestlers together, they're most likely just gonna strike the whole.
Yeah, and that was a fucking great fight, bro.
I love that
both
fight.
of them. I fucking love both of the fights. Who'd you think like won both? Do you think Usman won both?
Well, yeah, he definitely won the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, I think Usman had still did enough to secure his position on that to winning.
Yeah, I think those two knockdowns in that second round like carried him over for the rest of the fight, because the last 3 rounds, in my opinion, Kobe clearly won those, but that second round where he got dropped twice, I think just put him over the edge, because he couldn't drop Usman once. He took him down though. Took him down for like a second, but they didn't count that shit. It's bullshit. Like they said, that didn't count as a fucking takedown.
I think like if you take them down and they get right back up to their feet, like if the butt touches, but they get right back up to their feet, then I don't think they'll count it. Like, you got to at least 2 seconds of ground control, 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it's less than that, then they really won't count it as a takedown. But it was one of the greatest fights that I've seen, man. Like both of them, like it's badass. Like the way, you know, they're two wrestlers, but they're coming in like and they're striking. And it's nonstop, high volume, fast pace. You know, it's like I didn't really expect that, but it was really like interesting to see.
And I can't believe Usman has no knees, bro. Like I found that out like a year ago. His knees are so fucked up, and look at the shit he's been able to do, bro. Like it's crazy.
From what though?
I think it was ACL.
Tore both of them?
I think both of them, and I don't think he ever got surgery. And I'm not sure what happened, but he says like his knees are just fucked. Like he hates walking. He has to walk barefoot in the grass, or he walks in the grass instead of on the sidewalk, because it just hurts his knees too much when he walks on the concrete. And this motherfucker was like one of the greatest welterweights of all time, and he really didn't throw kicks. If you watch his fights, he doesn't really throw kicks like that. Like it's strictly hands, takedowns, and then ground and pound. But isn't it? I feel like for ground and pound and takedowns, you have to use your legs a lot, don't you? Like you're driving a lot of the time. Even when you're just on the ground, your toes aren't you driving off the floor to kind of put pressure with your shoulder and stuff like that on your opponent?
Like especially if you're on top, like they say, like don't sit on your knee. You got to be on your toes. Yeah. If you're on your toes, then you got more of the heavy pressure. But you stay on your toes because you're driving off of them, so you got to use that pressure. I was on my knees on my last fight, and I had gotten Keegan, that motherfucker, man. He had swept me because I didn't have like heavy pressure, and the heavy pressure's got to come from your lower body. You gotta like stay small, compact, and just drive off your feet. But I was being lazy, stuck on my knees, and he was able to like counter off that.
You got an arm triangle finish, right? And one of your finishes?
Yeah, against Raymond. I think that was one of my favorite fights. I've had 5 professional fights now, and Raymond, that fight was intense because it, like, I think it was the third or fourth fight on the card on the prelims, and I had brought a crowd. I had sold at least over $8,000 worth of tickets. I'm 1-0. He has a crowd too. We're both 1-0. And man, we just started going at it, man. First round was like fast paced, nonstop, striking back and forth. It was exciting. Second round, it started off just like that up until like the last minute where I had caught him. He started driving back, and then I like lunged with the cross, and he had dipped down and shot for a takedown. I was like, yes, perfect. And I slipped right into a guillotine. And I had an in right before my back even like touched the ground. I'm squeezing. I'm thinking this is it. Boom, pops his head out. Fuck. Now I'm in bad position because he's in my guard.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like scramble out and get out of this. I'm just throwing elbows from bottom. Just trying to do everything that I can do to get out of this bad position. I like trapped his arm. Threw up this little triangle. Like, man, I was just flowing. I didn't really think like this was gonna like I was gonna get this on him because I think before he started striking, he did a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Gotcha.
So I went into this fight thinking like I gotta knock him out because I don't think I'm gonna be able to submit him because he's a strong grappler. But I had him in this triangle and he slipped out, but he left his arm in, and I was just like, oh, let me fucking take this home with me. And that was it. And man, like the emotion after that fight was just crazy. Because like one of those, like it was a dog fight. I'm thinking like, like we got out of this one. Like thank God we finished it. Because and going into that like if we would have gone to the third, like I know he would have like brought out a little bit more out of me. But man, like that's to this day it's one of my favorite fights. Yeah.
Who's all your, I guess, people with buying tickets? Because even in that Rivera fight, when they announced your name, the fucking crowd was loud. Like it sounded like a packed crowd whenever they said your name. Like who's all the people you're kind of pulling out? Is it family, friends, or just like you just promoting people?
Dude, I try to like spam people. I try to annoy people as much as I can with like selling tickets. Like I'll post it on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, like any chance that I get to like sell them, like because I get commission off the tickets. So like I'm trying to get more money. More money the better, and plus the more fan base, like the better. So like it's really just anybody who reaches out, wants to show support. But I get a lot of support for like my family because and my sponsors too. But it's really just me like hustling, man. You know, I'm trying to get this money, so I gotta like push these tickets.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like you get a percentage of that shit, everything you sell.
For sure.
Gotcha. Like,
for sure.
Is it televised too, Fury?
It's
UFC Fight Pass, right?
Yeah, for the main card, they'll stream it on the UFC Fight Pass, and then for like the early prelims, they'll show them on the Fury fighting page on Facebook and on YouTube.
Gotcha.
So that's where most of the fights stream.
Do they host any pay-per-views, Fury, or is it all strictly kind of fight nights?
I guess the Fight Pass, you could say it'd be like the pay-per-view, but nah. Other promotions like Peak, you gotta, and other, I can't think of the other. XFC, you gotta pay at least like $24 just to get like the whole card. But Fury's cool to like, they'll stream it free. Facebook, YouTube, and then if you got a subscription with Fight Pass, then you can like stream it there.
How'd you get into Fury? Do you have a manager that kind of sets these things up for you, or you do all this shit yourself?
Dude, I hit the guy up. Like, my coaches, like they like I was eager to get in there. Like I wanted to fight so bad, and like telling me like, nah, you gotta wait. Like we'll talk to the people. Like we'll try to get you a fight. And I'm like, man, like I have the promoter on Facebook. I just added him.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like closed mouths don't get fed. Like I hit him up. I'm like, hey man, like I'm an up and coming fighter, like trying to make it. Like I'm for the 155 division. You got to fight for me. Like I'm ready to go. You just let me know. Within like after sending that message, like he had got me a fight within the end of the week. I was like, no, I could have done this like months ago, but you know, I do it all myself, man. Like, and then I had like this one. I'm managed by Iridium Sports Agency.
Gotcha.
And they're like, they have like at least over 140 UFC fighters.
Damn.
On the roster, and like other fighters and other promotions too, like PFL, Bellator, but most of their guys are like in the UFC. So it's like the best management you can get with, in my opinion. And they have like 6 to 8 agents that work for them. And my guy Simon, he works with me. He was at my second amateur fight. He had asked me like, hey, like, do you have any agents or anything like that? Like, you managed by anybody? I was like, nah, man. He's like, all right, well, we'll talk in the future. Like, all right, bet. And then I made my pro debut and I had won, and I'm thinking like, okay, like now I'm a professional. I need to start getting like sponsors. Let me get a manager. And I hit Iridium up. Like I messaged them on email, Instagram. I had emailed the owner like, hey, I'm an up and coming fighter. I see you guys are like signing a lot of guys. Like I would love to be a part of the team. And they kind of like just like, I never received anything back. I was like, okay. And they had just signed other guys too. And I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, I was like, all right, I kind of like, it was like, whatever.
Fuck them, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And then I started winning more. And it's like, oh, hey, now they're interested.
Yeah.
So like, Eric kicked me up like, hey, man, like Jason really wants to sign you. And I'm like, man, I hit that man up. He like looked past me. I'm like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to get with them anymore, man. Like I'll look for better options. But then I like really thought through with my decision, and I like understood like
that's how the game works, bro.
Yeah.
It's the business. Yeah.
Right.
You can't even be mad at it. It's like,
exactly,
they got to get something out of it too. So once you've built up something for yourself, then you like have more leverage. Like, all right, I come to the table. I'm 2-0. Submitted this dude. Like, what's up with it? Like,
exactly. But then I did some research, and I'm like, man, they are like putting a lot of guys into the UFC. So this is probably like the best management that I should like get with. And I said, fuck it. Yeah. Like, hey, you guys passed me up, but like, if you guys are still interested, then I'm willing to work with y'all. And so
who's their main guy? Cause like, you know, a lot of them have, like a lot of agencies have the main like owner or head of it, like Ali Abdelaziz and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like, who's Iridium's kind of lead, I guess?
Like the best fighter?
No, the manager. Like, who's owns
Jason,
the company?
Jason House.
Jason House. Okay.
Jason House. He's the owner. I think he was an attorney and a lawyer, and then just wanted to start up his own company. And he had worked with like other athletes before, like football and basketball, but I think he fell more in love with like the MMA athlete. Started working with them.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. I think I like that better, that I didn't know who he was, because that's more appropriate to me. Like Ali, who's like all in the news and all in the media and shit like that. I don't like that to me, because it's like looks like he's trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to take attention away from his fighters. He does talk about his fighters, but it seems more that he's trying to become a personality himself rather than just keep the shine on his fighters. Same thing with coaches. I like coaches who I don't know about that make killers, because they don't need the spotlight. They don't need to be having interviews and stuff like that. They're like, you guys go get the shine. I'm going to make sure you're fucking ready for it and put you on and shit. Like in a game, there's a lot of people that are out for themselves, even if they're not representing that. Yeah. And that's when you see a lot of kind of, I think, negative aspects to the game and stuff like that. Like coaches who are all about their bread and all about their name are going to be the ones that aren't going to let, like, example for you, go train with a Factory X or AKA and go kind of cross train or anything like that, because they'd be like, nah, I don't want you fucking leaving our gym or like going and training with them. and shit like that.
There's a lot of shit like that goes on in the MMA community. You know, like you want your guys to stay within the community, but in my opinion, I think it's good to cross train.
100%.
Get a look for other guys in the gym. You know, just get out of your comfort zone. I mean, I think that's important, but at the same time, like you need like your home team and your guys, because you want to build culture, teammates. You need to push, and you also got to be there for your teammates as well and help them prepare for their fights. But I I understand what you mean completely, and I agree, because there's a lot of guys out there that just take the best interest for themselves. As a fighter, I feel careful what you let in. Us.
A lot of politics, bro. Everyone's. We talked about this on a previous podcast, but a lot of what you see in today's world is just people are selfish. Like, in general, everyone, and I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I feel like everyone has been guilty of it at some point in their life or still. And when you have that as your driving force, no matter what industry you're in or no matter where you're at in life, not going to clash well with people who have good intentions. And usually the ones with good intentions are the ones that get fucked over in the long run. And you see that in the game. You see that in just, you know, all over life and shit like that. What were you doing before you fully transitioned over to MMA? What was the job you were doing before?
I was working as a web advisor.
Okay.
For this one company. And, you know, I liked it. It was great. But like I said, it was just taking too much time out of my day. Like it limited me to like only like 2 training sessions. By that, I mean like just 2 hours. It's like, that wasn't it, you know? So like, I had to take that risk of like, look, I could leave this job. I could always come back. I could always come back and get back on the payroll and, you know, just act like as if like nothing happened, you know? But I took the risk of like, you know what? I'm going to leave for a little bit, see how this works. It was the best I get.
When did you know, like, I'm fucking gonna be a fighter full time? Like, this is what I want to do.
Dude, man. So like, it was like the year of 2019. I had that was when my life kind of changed too, because like so much fucking shit happened that year. Like, I was young too, so like, I'd gone through like a bad breakup. I was just fucking salty about that shit. And then for real. And then my dad had a stroke.
Damn.
And he left his body like half paralyzed. So like on the right side of his body, he's like completely like limp, can't get around on his own and nothing like that. And so it's just kind of like, oh shit, now I gotta like look out for my family a little bit. Like I had to like move back home and get like help around. I was like, okay, well, like, look, I'm gonna leave my job, come back home, help you more around, because he needs like special care, bro. He can't get around on his own.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if I can find a way where like I can like watch out for you and then go train when, you know, you're in like with your therapy, like when your nurses, when they come home, like if I can get away and go get like a session in and then come back and watch out for you and like see what you need. And then like my sister would come home and like we'll kind of like switch shifts, like, okay, then I can go train again.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like on that routine for like 3 months. And then I was like, okay, well, I may as well just go like take a fight, see how it goes. And it went well. So I was like, okay, well, like, fuck it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch out for you and I'm going to train. So like for like the past like 3 years, that's just what my life's been consisted of. Like just looking out for my dad, kind of being like caretaker.
Yeah.
Like my whole family, like we're all involved. My mother, my sisters, like we're all involved. It's like a team. Like we got to look out for this fool because this motherfucker can get needy as fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's our father, so you know we're gonna look out for him. But I've been blessed where watch out for him and just train like full time, and that's just like what I've been like doing for the past like 2 to 3 years. You know, and, like,
is that when you started training too, 2019, or you've been training your whole life?
No, I've been like I said, I did karate when I was little. I went all the way up until I was 14, from like 8 years old all the way up until 14. And then I did wrestling for a little bit. And then I got into high school, and then I started playing football. And then when I started playing football, I kind of took away of the focus of like training. I was just like fucking playing football all the time. And then once I graduated, I was like, okay, like I don't know what to do now. Like, I mean, I went to school, but it just like, and then I got a job, and it was like, man, this is it. This isn't it. I need to like, I need to train or something. Like, I want to fight. You know, this is what I've always wanted to do. And so then in 2016, that's when I signed up at 4 Ounce Fight Club. And ever since then, like I've been training, but I didn't really start taking it serious up until like 2019.
I guess what is it about the game that made you always want to fight? Because it takes a lot for someone to be willing to just chase that as a career. It's not something that an everyday Joe can do. What was it that just like drew you to it? Like, I just fucking love this shit. Like, dude,
I just like, like my whole inspiration, like before I even got into karate, like I was a big fan of like Jet Li. Everyone says like they loved like Bruce Lee growing up.
Yeah.
But to me, it was more like Jet Li in his movies, and like
Stone Cold Killer, bro. He was always serious as fuck, like no smiling, just straight karate, bro.
You got the short little Asian man, like fucking everybody up twice their size, and I'm thinking like, man, I want to be like that. And I would watch his movies like Kiss of the Dragon, Unleashed, and like all these fighting scenes. Like I couldn't even sit and watch it. I'm just in the living room trying to mimic his exact moves, like just fucking fighting imaginary people in the living room, like just like being an idiot.
Yeah.
And then I finally got into karate, and then like it just like as I got older, I just kept with it. And I just like it's not even that I got to compete. Like it's just like I don't know what it is about it, man. It's like fighting is like there's nothing like fighting.
Nothing, bro.
You know? So to be able to like do that, like it's just like, and everything that comes with it too, man. Like I've been able to like travel to go to Colorado, train with people over there, the people that I've met, like Daniel Pineda, Rafael Alves, like just all these guys.
That's in the UFC?
Yeah.
He's the head coach of 4 Ounce?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Isn't he only like 29 or like?
Nah, he's like 35,
35.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him. He fought recently. Like,
yeah.
And he won recently. Like,
yeah,
like a month ago or some shit like that.
Fucking 100% finish rate.
Yeah, he's a dog.
He's savage. Like, he was my first ever MMA coach.
Gotcha.
So I've been with him for like the past like 9 years, and just trying to learn from him and grow with him, and kind of let him like pave the way for me, and just trying to like be under his wing. And
he's 45, right?
Yeah, he's a 45er.
45er.
Yeah. Strong as fuck.
That's badass, having a fighter as a coach. I feel like that makes the dynamic better, because he's on the same path as you. So like he'll be more open to you trying different shit, because he's like, I know the benefits of, you know, you going out and exposing yourself to different camps and shit like that.
Exactly.
So that's probably huge for you.
Yeah. No, dude, he's got like so much knowledge, bro. He's got so much experience. Like he's got over 50 professional fights. So
fucking shit ton of fights.
That's what I'm saying. He's got a lot of cage time. Yeah. So it's always good to like learn from him, like just like having to hear like what he's got to say. And like
have you guys trained with Yanez and their team, Metro? Have you guys like ever gone up there, or they came to you guys?
No, we've had some of his guys like come over to our gym, like Jacob Silva, Eduardo, and Yana, like just fighters that fight out of Metro, but never Adrian. But I've seen him a lot of times. I'll probably see him later tonight, because he's got like, I think he's got a fighter fighting for Elevate, and we have a fighter fighting for Elevate tonight, Romel. So like I see him like every now and then, but never really got the chance to like work with him in like as far as like the MMA training.
Gotcha.
But
that fight was rough, man. I mean, it was a great fight, like a fucking awesome fight with Rob, but
man,
he got too drawn into that brawl, bro. He should have picked him apart. I think like he got too into I think he wanted to knock him out too bad, because you could just tell with what he was throwing. Like he wanted to put his ass away, but you can't do that with Rob. Rob's too tough,
dude. But I've been to Adrian's fight before he even made it to the UFC, and he's bred from Fury.
Yeah,
fought for the same promotion. And I was lucky enough to able to go to one of his fights. And when I saw him fight, bro, like you tell, like there's something about this fighter
Mm-hmm.
way ahead of these guys on the reach.
Yeah.
Like when I went and saw him, like he was piecing this up, going from like head to body. Like you could just tell like the difference, like the high level striking. It was like, dude, like this guy's gonna make it one day, like to the big show, and he's gonna make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And for the most part, he fucking did.
Absolutely, bro.
Up until like this last fight, he's had a great run so far, and he's not done yet. You know, but you could always just tell like there's something special about this guy.
Bro, his boxing is disgusting.
Next level.
For that 135, even just in the UFC in general, like no one's got that crisp like boxing.
Yeah.
I think if I would say the one thing, and I'm not a fighter, I'm not fucking anywhere close to how good he is, but if just outside looking in, I'd say the one thing he needs to work on is sticking to like range, because sometimes he'll get drawn, he'll get a good shot and he'll want to follow it right away with some crazy shit.
Yeah.
When he can just, take another step back and then boom, land that shot, which he does a lot. Like he did that in his second UFC fight. He hurt the guy multiple times, but he was still calm and then waited for that right hand. That shit was so fast, bro. Yeah. That right hand he landed on that dude, where I couldn't even see it until they showed the replay. I didn't know what happened. I just saw the guy fall. Yeah. I'm like, what did he hit him with? And then they show the replay and he just quickly, like, even the replay, that shit was so fast. It was like a fucking whip, bro.
He's next level, man. He's got a lot of good fighters that he's training with, because I mean, I don't know if you know the story about with their head coach.
Yeah,
Saul Solis. Yeah. So he's kind of like turned into the head coach from what I've heard, and just running the show over there at Metro.
I was over there actually.
Oh yeah,
they train at a place called O Athletic. That's
where I've heard of the facility. Badass facility.
It is. It's cool. It's like it has a full gym. Yeah. And then they have a MMA cage, a boxing ring, and then jiu-jitsu mat like on one side of the thing. Yeah. And like expensive gym, like all like rich people that go there usually and shit like that. Baddies,
I'm sure.
Baddies walking around that gym.
I bet.
And then they have his team. They all train there. So they have him, the jiu-jitsu coach. And yeah, he runs the show over there. Like you could just tell, because I would go over there to box because they have a lot of bags and stuff. So I'll go train.
That's a drive for you, huh?
Yeah. Out of traffic. It's like 15 minutes. It's in the Heights. So the Heights from here is like 15 minutes. Not bad. That's where I was boxing too. I don't know if you've heard of Four Corners Boxing Gym in the Heights.
I've heard of Four Corners, but I don't. Is there any like big name guys that train?
I don't know if you know who Darius Fulgham is. He's a boxer, up and coming boxer. He's like 4-0 now. He's fighting out of there. Zach Spiller, he's a heavyweight. Danielle Chambers, she's like I don't know what weight division she's in, but she's pretty fucking badass too. But it's a small gym. It's not like anything crazy. Trade the Truth is a part owner though. That's like why you may have heard of it. And his mural's on the fucking front of it. And then there's those two twins, those two little boxing twins that came out of Houston that blew up on Instagram and stuff like that, and are in movies now and stuff. They trained out of that gym, so they kind of put that gym on the map a little bit. Okay. But yeah, it's all in the Heights area, so it's 15 minutes from here. The only problem is with traffic. That's why I stopped going, because
dude, you're right in the fucking part of,
bro. 6:10. Yeah. After fucking everyone gets off work is horrible, bro. It takes you 30 minutes to get to the Heights. 30-40 minutes. I'm like, fuck that. So I just started training at like LA Fitness and just going back to lifting weights.
I seen you. You posting on the story. You hitting the bench press, bro. You in the gym,
trying
bro.
To get back up there. I'd rather fight, honestly. I'd rather just go train boxing, but the driving is just like time versus money, time versus, how do you spend your time is so important to me now. Yeah. Because we're not getting any younger. So as we get older, whatever you choose to do, even if it's not your path, like say you're not even at the gym training, if you're just at home, you got to really value how you spend your time now. I feel like that's big in today's day and age, and 90% of people aren't really valuing their time. They're just like,
facts.
I'm just going to vegetate, sit around, bullshit. And what makes us different, what's really going to get you to the top of whatever it is you're chasing, is really valuing your time and spending every fucking ounce of that shit in a productive or positive way. It's hard though. I have bad days where I just fucking will end up sitting watching Netflix for fucking 3 hours and shit, but that's really what separates the greats from just regular Joes, is like how you spend your time.
Yeah. You got to think about it like this too. Like I used to be guilty of that shit too. Like I just like take naps throughout the day, like not giving a fuck, like getting lazy, like letting the time go by, like whatever. But what really changed my like perspective on it, because like I got to be squeezing in like 4 sessions a day. You know, I want to be like the best, so I got to train as much as I can. But also like looking at my dad,
exactly. Yep.
Like it's got to be depressing for him getting up every morning knowing that fucking like, you know, you're useless. You know, you can't really do much. You can't really get around on your own. You know, so it's like, you know, looking at that, it's like I don't ever feel sorry for myself. Like I don't ever like feel like I need to get lazy. If I feel like I'm not doing enough, then I'll just like do more, because like I always like thinking about my dad, like everybody else that's like in his position. Like I know that if he could, he would. So like I'm not gonna take this time for granted and just sit around and like be fucking lazy and just waste my time. You know, I'm gonna get shit done, and if I got time, then I'm gonna train or whatever it is that I'm doing. Like you said, you got to use your time wisely. So it's a good motivating factor, but like,
yeah,
I agree, get it, bro.
That's why I find it hard to take people seriously sometimes here in America or in my life or people I know in my circle and stuff when they say they're going through depression, because a lot of them have people in their lives that are going through way worse than them. And I'm like, you need to really change your perspective or take a step back, because people like to throw around the word a lot. There's definitely people who are depressed,
right?
But I think people misuse it too much, where, you know, when they're going through a bad period in their life, immediately I'm depressed or I'm going through depression and stuff. You're devaluing the word. You got to look at people, for example, like your father went through a fucking crazy shit. He's paralyzed, you know, on half of his body. That motherfucker's still fighting. He's still getting up.
Yeah,
you know, he hasn't resigned to his fate and just be like, fuck it. I'm giving up. I'm depressed. You know, when you have people and you see people like that, like you said, it's such a motivating factor. When I go to the gym, bro, and I see like people who clearly have disabilities in there, fucking in the gym, I want to go. I want to go up to them and be like, dog, you inspire me, bro. But I don't want to like, at the same time, I don't want to make them feel a type of way where like, oh, because you're disabled, I want to come give you props. Yeah. I have a battle sometimes like that where I'm just like, I want to give him props, but I don't want him to think like I'm just saying that because he's disabled or something like that. So I just keep it to myself and I look at him, I'm like, that's fucking live, bro. I like seeing it. Like I was at LA Fitness 4 days ago or maybe sometime last week, and I saw a guy with like cerebral palsy, like clearly was shaking and stuff, but he was out there at the fucking ab machine just trying to crank it out. I was like, oh fuck, bro, I love that shit.
Good, it gives you that drive.
Yeah, you know? And so when I see shit like that, and I hear people that I know saying like, oh, I was going through depression, stuff like that, I'm like, man, you gotta be tougher, bro. You gotta change your perspective a little bit. I think people are so quick to get in a mindset now where it's like, man, I just want to feel bad for myself. And I like the way it feels. It's like a weird thing, right? You know, have you ever felt bad for yourself and it makes you feel good, like feeling bad for yourself? Like where you're just like, it gives you comfort when you kind of like feel bad for yourself. You know what I'm talking
about? The best way I can explain it is like when I do feel like that, I'll just start to fucking eat. Yeah. And I'll eat till I'm like
comfort food.
Exactly. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like that. I think is a very common thing now. Like, you have people doing that shit. You have people not being able to see what's around them, and the fact that you're able to take the silver lining and what happened to your pops is gonna take you a long way. Because like that way, you always have something you can look at and be like, I have nothing to complain about. Like, you know, he got me here this far. Now I'm taking care of him. I have no excuse. Shit, I'm gonna fucking get in the gym every fucking day, 4 times a day. Spend that time, extra time doing other stuff, like you said, hustling, reaching out to promotions, reaching out to you know, promoters and stuff like that to get opportunities, sell tickets, stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's the way you got to keep doing it, bro. You got to keep fucking grinding and finding the best way to spend your time.
Yeah, bro. Let me tell you something too. Like before my dad had his like stroke, like it was like when I was taking the steps of like, okay, like I'm gonna start like training and I'm gonna start like, hey, I'm thinking about getting away from my job, like take this serious. Dad looks at me, he's like, man, you'll never fucking make it. Like you're lazy, you smoke too much pot, like you're never gonna get there. I'm just like, all right. And I remember that. All right, a month later, stroke happens. And when I made my amateur debut, and he wasn't even there because he was in the hospital. It had happened that same week. Damn. Like when I was making my debut, like 4 days out, like stroke hit. He wasn't able to like even see me do my thing. And I wasn't even sure if my mom was gonna be, or even any of my family was gonna be able to make it, because you know, they're in the hospital with him.
Yeah.
But you know, my sister had stayed with him, and my mom was able to get away.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom and my two sisters were there. I only like sold like 30 tickets too.
Mm-hmm.
Like for my amateur debut, like I only asked for 30 tickets, and that's all I sold. And so I went in the fight. It was over in like 22 seconds. I was like, fuck yeah. And like, damn, like I don't got my like family here to like really celebrate with me. But then I went and visited my dad the next day in the hospital. And like, he's like all like just fucked up. But he's like still like there. And like, he's like trying to tell me with his words. He's like, congrats. And like, I showed him the video of like what the fuck I did in 22 seconds. And like, he's just there like, vegetable, but I'm like still rubbing it in his face like, motherfucker, you told me that I wasn't gonna make it, look what I just did, bro.
Yeah.
But
that happens, bro. That's parents, bro. Same way.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is like, he wasn't like with it at the time. He wasn't like supportive, but now it's like, man, let's like make t-shirts. Like, he's my stepdad, so he's trying to put his last name with mine, make it seem like Team Saenz Ortega, and it's like, motherfucker, like you weren't like claiming me back then like that, but now you're like with it like that. But
yeah,
it's just funny.
That's parents though. They're gonna be your biggest critic, but then also your biggest supporter. Like at the same time, like they're the ones gonna shoot it to you straight. Like if, I think at the time when he told you that, he probably like wasn't just bullshitting. Like you probably were like smoking a lot of weed or being lazy.
Oh yeah,
and so he's not just gonna throw some shit at you for no reason. Like, he's like, you know, this is the fucking facts. But like you said, it can motivate you or it can make you angry and resentful.
100%.
Like, fuck this man. But, you know, some people take it both ways. So you took it the right way. And I'm sure now he's fucking like super excited and shit like that.
Yeah.
Has he been to a fight yet? Like after?
Oh, yeah. He's been to all of them. Yeah. So far, been all.
How does that work? So he has to like, is he in a wheelchair? Like he has to be, or does he walk?
Yeah, like if we go to places like, we got to take a scooter, and he sits around in it and moves around, but gets around like on a cane if we're not going anywhere too far.
Okay, that's not bad.
He's got a cane, but yeah, if we're going to places, like he's got to use a scooter or a wheelchair. Just got to move around.
Is it the whole like foot to
everything,
top of the
bro?
head?
Like literally, when I say half his body, like I mean like everything. So like his leg, his arm, like even his taste buds from like the right side of his body is like wacky. His vision is wacky. Like his speech, it's wacky. It's like this whole side is like literally like shut down.
Damn.
So it's hard for him. But I mean, like you said, he still wakes up and fights every day. So it's like I have no reason why I shouldn't. You know. So
before that, was he always in the combat sports too? Is that the reason why he put you into karate, or was it?
No, man. He had like left Iraq.
Oh shit.
To go. He was a logistics manager over there for. He was like a water purifier. He would purify the water for the soldiers. And so when he had left, it was just me, my mom, and my two sisters. And like he was pretty much like, "Hey, we're gonna enroll you in this, you know, so you can like be like the new man of the house. You know, you can like protect your sisters and like, you know, that type of shit." But like I had already wanted to do karate so bad. So this was just like even like, and you know, they wanted to get me involved in sports too. Like they tried me out for like t-ball and baseball, but I didn't like that shit, bro. They got videos of me like in the field. I played outfield, not even paying attention to the game. I'm like shadow boxing. I put my glove down. I'm just like shadow boxing. Like, man, fuck this shit. Like, whatever. And then they're like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna get you in karate since you can't just stay still. Yeah, fuck it. And so
did you get in fights a lot, like outside of school and stuff like that? No,
I've never been into a street fight.
What?
I've never been into a bar fight. I really would prefer not to do that. Like I don't like going out looking for fights, bro.
Yeah,
if there's a fight that's about to break out, like I try to like be the guy that's like, let's calm it down. Let's not do this, you know. But if it comes down to it, like, okay, let's do it. But for the most part, like I don't like to fight like on the street. I'm kind of like scared of what I'd be capable of doing. I'd rather not want to see that side of me.
Fan bro's dangerous. Motherfucker, you think it's just a normal fight. You don't know you don't know who he's with.
Right.
You don't know what they're willing to do. Like, are they gonna come with a bottle when you're fighting him?
Yeah.
Break that shit over the top of your head, like chair, whatever the fuck they.
You don't
do.
know what they're carrying.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather not do that, bro. Because I could be the baddest fighter. I can know all this shit, whatever. But what's all that shit gonna do if I come against a dude with like a gun or a knife? It's like, all right, you got it. Never mind. You know. So it's like,
you carry
just chill. No, bro, I don't. No.
Bro, you need to in Houston, man.
I know,
it's dangerous
bro.
out here, bro. Everyone fucking has one, and the ones that are willing to use it have one that's not registered either. So
yeah,
like,
man,
you gotta be able to protect yourself, bro. Like I have one. I carry it where I legally can. I don't like some of these motherfuckers take it to like bars where it clearly says 30-6, 30-7, like not bring a gun in here.
Right.
That's like you said, where you got to be careful. You know who you're dealing with. They make it obvious if they have a fucking gun. Like you could tell by the way they carry themselves. Okay, this motherfucker's gonna pull this strap out if we get into a fight and shit. But it's getting bad, bro. Shootings all the fucking time. Over here in Houston. You just don't like. You just never had the need to, or you just...
Dude, I've never really been a fan of guns. No, I know it's important. I know that I should. Anytime when I'm in the street, I feel like I really don't like to go out very often for that one specific reason. Dude, I go to like 2 places, gym. Like Iron City to get my conditioning, and then 4 ounce, and then Katy. Those are the only 2 places that I like go to. And I don't really like to go out for that specific reason, but I know that it's important. I know that I should, but I just like, I'm not really big on guns either, bro. Cause I have that fear of like, that shit falls on and that the guy picks it up, like use it against me. I'd rather just not, but even for home protection, bro, like we don't got shit like that. It's like,
just get a basic shotgun, bro. You can get a Maverick 88 from Academy for like $200. Perfect. It's like a short barrel shotgun, like easy to use because it has a little spread. So if anyone breaks into your house, that's what I recommend to anyone who wants to just have a piece to defend your crib. I always go with like a basic, 12 gauge shotgun.
Dude, and that's like my thing too. It's like I don't like keep telling myself like I should probably get something for the family and for myself. I don't want to wait till it's too late. I get in altercation like, well, fuck, I wish I had a gun. So
it's just about education, man. I feel like a lot of people are not super educated on guns, and that's what gives them fear. And then all you need to do is go through a simple course. Like if you need to, you can learn yourself. Like I learned from my dad. My dad taught me a lot about it. So growing up, I've always had a positive understanding and relationship with guns. So I never really was scared of them, or I always knew how to use them. I always knew the danger that they have in the wrong hands. So I was like, I gotta respect them, and, treat them with the right amount of care and stuff like that. So once you get educated, it's so simple, bro. And then you start to understand, like, I don't need to pull it out unless I need to use it. You just have it there, but it never comes across your mind to just pull it out. Like, you can get. I've been in situations where I've gotten like serious and it was heated, but I never thought about pulling it out. I knew and I've learned like I only need to pull it out if my life is in danger.
Right.
And I don't use it unless I'm at the range or we're practicing, just keeping our aim sharp. And once you get that level of understanding, you'll be fine, bro. It's super simple, and you learn about it, and then you don't have no issues with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not completely against it. Like I'll go to the gun range, shoot a couple times here and there, but like it's just getting familiar with it too, like taking classes. It'll probably be a smart investment, bro, like for real.
Yeah, but you're also a dangerous motherfucker too, so you train on time. So if someone breaks in your house or they have a gun, shit, you just elbow them, just fuck them up real quick. Shit, you always got that option, bro. But I think it's time for us to play some chess, bro. Let's see.
All right, man.
How your experience carries over. I'm gonna set this up real quick. Turn this on, and then we can get it going. So this is gonna be a little challenging just because the way it's set up. So for us to play and talk, you gotta still talk behind the mic, but then when you want to play, just then come back and talk on the mic.
What's this extra piece?
That's your queen, an extra queen. In case in case one of your pawns get to the other side, you get another queen. When's the last time?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm rusty for sure, but I like this little piece you got right here. I like this whole setup right.
I
We can play. Yeah.
Buy it off Amazon. I'm like, I might save a couple dollars going to Walmart or something, but fuck it. Amazon's right here. All right. So, whenever you're ready, Mike, let me know. We good? All right. White goes first.
All right.
Interesting setup. And that's a really good move, actually.
So what's the like? You just like to play chess before the or like after the podcast? Or
Yeah,
what?
it's like the theme of my. Or it's not the theme, but it's like kind of my trademark for the show. It's just like I love chess, and I think it's a very strong thinking man's game. So
it is for sure.
Having my guest play keeps you sharp. Exactly. Your turn. I just took your pawn.
This is like the thinking man. Like we'll like get into a position where it's like, oh fuck, I spent like 3 minutes on it just trying to figure out my next move.
Hell yeah, that's it. But like once you play so much, it just starts snapping. You just know what moves you're gonna do based on the reactions and stuff like that. Interesting. Well, I mean, either let you have it.
Where'd you go to school at?
Went to U of H.
U of H.
You talking about like high school?
Yeah.
High school, I went to Elkins.
Elkins.
Mm-hmm. South side. You know where Mo City is? Missouri City?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like over there.
Okay.
I lived there from high school, so 9th grade, over till U of H, actually. Like partway through U of H, I think up until my 3rd year there, I lived in Southside.
Not bad.
Yep, I knew that was coming. Yeah. Fun game. Already coming on strong.
My sister is
cold to chess.
Yeah, she likes to play chess. She's got the app on her phone. It's the
chess.com.
Yeah, there you go. I had that for a little bit, but I was just always getting my shit ran through, so I just deleted it, rage quit.
Yeah, I'm up there now. I'm probably like rank 1,000 now. Like not rank, but the rating. You know how you had the ratings, like it says like 400 something, 500 something. I'm like nine something now. I was at 1,000, like 80 for a little bit, and then I got my ass whipped like 4 times and went back down. Interesting. Why that one? Rook to the side. Curious what your strategy is.
Got you thinking over here, man.
Damn, I can't do. Need to get your pieces out of there. They're in my way. Thing. So you know, like castling and everything, right?
I know the what?
Castling.
What's that?
Where you can castle your king if you haven't moved your king or your rook.
Nah, man.
Okay, we'll go over that in a minute. I don't know if I'm gonna do it yet. I probably should, but fuck it. Let's check. I just need you to not move that piece and that piece, and I'll be just don't get excited with those pieces. I might be able to close this out. But yeah, you can threaten my king all day. I ain't worried about that. The bishop ain't
I'm trying to see what you're seeing right now.
I'd love to tell you, but you know that's the whole point. I got to keep it to myself.
I feel like I got way too much distractions going on right now. Kind of like this mic, the trying to figure out my next move. It's like I'm thinking about what I want to get to eat later. It's like fuck.
Let's see what you got, man. What you got? I would get that bishop out of there if I were you. Unless you,
Which one?
unless you're John, give it to me. Shit, I'll take it. There's like millions of moves in chess. I think they said like the number of different moves you can have in one chess game, and it was fucking like in the hundreds of millions or something like that, or tens of millions.
Got a lot of chess people. Who's that
really
one famous one?
I like Magnus Carlsen. He's consensus, I think, greatest of all time. He's playing right now. Like, he's still playing right now. He's like probably like 30 something, 31. They say he's probably the best. And then Hikaru. There's this Asian guy named Hikaru who's pretty cold. There's this American that they say is a cheater who's pretty good. He supposedly beat Magnus Carlsen. You know how they said he won? They said he had anal beads in his ass that were buzzing for like certain moves and stuff like that. That would like tell him what to play and stuff like that. Don't know if it's true or not, but they accused him of cheating like that. I'm like, shit. However you win, I guess. Where'd you gonna go? And you got me building a little family over here.
I know, man. Fuck.
Got mom, dad, and the kids.
Blame the angle that I'm at too. I can't really.
I know. I need to get a smaller table. More to come. More to come. The setup will change. Comes with time. So how long are you thinking you're gonna be in Fury for? What's the plan? How long are you trying to stay? Like,
man, I was hoping my last fight would have been my last one with them, and I would have gotten the call to go to the big show. But you know, with that loss, it like sets me back. So I have like 3 more fights on my contract. But we'll see, man. I think it's looking like I'm gonna have to finish those last 3, and then God willing, everything goes well. It'll put me on track with getting into the bigger show. But as far as like that goes, like I gotta finish these last 3 fights out and do well. And if I do well, then I'll get the call. But so far, man, Fury's been great, man. Like it's the fastest growing promotion as far as like on the regional level. I think it's getting up there with like PFL and Bellator. They're starting to like travel out more. It used to be LFA, but man, Eric is doing such a fucking great job with what he's doing. Like it's like next level too. So we'll just see, man. I hope that. Man, I hope this is gonna move. No, fuck it, I put my hand. We'll just see how it goes, man. Plus, like I like fighting at home.
Yeah.
Every fight that I've had has been here. I usually sell a crowd, so that's always good for me. So
I knew that's what you were gonna go with it.
Let
me make sure I am in the right position. That you got. Yes, sir. We know who's gonna win this exchange if we battle this part out. Unless you got something I'm missing.
Nah, man. I think you can pretty much tell my next move. I mean, it's right there. It's like, fuck.
You can have him.
I'm trying to see what your counter is. I know you already got it set up.
I'll trade, man. Go ahead. Take that night, bro.
It's not up until I take it, then I'm gonna figure out what you had in mind.
I will gladly give you some pieces. Trust me.
Who do I want to sacrifice?
Sharing is caring, bro. Like, no, you can have him. Take him and have him join the bishop. I'll just take a piece for myself too. Unless you want to attack something else, you're more than welcome to do that. It's funny. I always end I always end the games like damn near the same way, and I'm gonna end this one the same way.
Oh shit! How did I? That's what I was saying. Not until the move, man.
Always pinch that spot, bro. That's my go-to spot because unless you move that pawn or that queen, your king can't escape anywhere. So I know, like, as soon as I pinch that spot, if it's protected, game over, baby. GG's.
Good shit.
But hey, thanks for coming on, bro. This is awesome. Like, you were the first guest that I got to meet through like word of mouth from another guest on with Corey. So appreciate you coming on, bro.
Hey man, I had a great time, man. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it,
man. Yeah, we can go ahead and lock it off. You good?